Hello, I'm Karen Smothers, Director of Clinical Operations and Clinical Social Worker at Family Service and Guidance Center, and welcome to Ask a Child Therapist. So, this month, we've been answering some questions about one of the biggest challenges of parenting, which is self-care and how to manage yourself, your own emotions, and your ability sometimes to handle kids. So, this is a question that was sent to us by a parent like you. And they asked, every time I go to the grocery store, my 5 and 2-year-old misbehave. They act like they've never even been in public before. It's horribly embarrassing. I feel like I'm a terrible parent. Can you give me any advice? Well, first, I want to tell you a story that about my own experience parenting as a therapist and as a mom. So, when my two littles were young little Smothers brothers, and I planned this outing that we were going to go to the public library. And in my head, I pictured that we were going to spend the afternoon quietly on the floor in the children's library, reading stories together and having this precious memory that looked like a Norman Rockwell painting. And I would come home and they would take their nap, and I would feel like a great mom. And it didn't happen that way. It didn't even come close to that. I remember that being the moment as a mom that I understood what it would be like to just lose it and be so horribly humiliated and embarrassed in public. And so we went to the library. I thought this was going to go well. I had they were toddlers. One of my older toddler just took off running, giggling, laughing through the very, very quiet library. And then in my attempt to grab them or go after them, he made it to the end of the bookcase, which is a very long aisle, so that when I would go to my right to try to get him, he would run to his left around the other side. And when I tried to back out while also holding the other child, he was giggling and laughing and screaming, going around the opposite side. And we played this kind of game of chase as I got more and more upset and hot and red and sweaty and angry. And of course, everyone can hear this because it's the library. And at some point, the baby I was holding was crying, and I didn't realize his shoe had fallen off somewhere in the library during this chase where I was trying to get composure of the situation. And we left with kids screaming, crying, and a librarian looking at me pitifully and saying something like, "Hang in there, Mom." I was very, very angry when I went back out to our vehicle. I probably said things that I would never ever say, and was just very, very upset and angry, and saw that as one of my biggest parent fails at the time. So I can relate. I can relate to what it's like to be in public and have kids losing it and yourself losing it. And even as a therapist, when you experience it yourself, it becomes even more meaningful, and you get to experience reality with kids. So, some advice and maybe some things I should have done differently in my situation is, first of all, manage your own expectations. Just going to the library as I had it pictured, or if you're going to a grocery store, you're going to an event, and you have this idea of what's going to be in your mind. That may not be based on reality, and it may be unreasonable to think that your child will be able to manage those expectations. So make sure before you do something that you have realistic expectations of what your child can and can't do, and that you're not maybe aspiring even yourself to fulfill this role that isn't true even about yourself. And then, of course, stay calm and collected. When kids are misbehaving, it's embarrassing, but a lot of people around you get it. They're parents, or we're parents too. And it's okay. Your child's behavior doesn't have to speak to your own embarrassment. You can address it while staying calm and keeping your voice as neutral as possible. Sometimes as you escalate, your child's going to read that and escalate more. So be aware of your own tone and your own behavior. And then sometimes strategically, and you know your child best, it's best to ignore the behavior instead of playing into it. And if that isn't going to work, then I suggest getting your child somewhere else, to a quiet place where you can address their behavior when you're calm and you don't have the pressure of other people watching and looking at you. It's important you stick to your word. If you say no, or no, you can't, or that's not going to happen today, that you don't just appease the tantrum if that's what's happening. So stick to your word, and then give yourself some time to regroup, whether that means, in my case, getting back out to my vehicle, getting everyone in their car seat and taking a moment to calm down. That's really important, so that you don't do things or say things that could be damaging or hurtful. Debrief with your child. When things calm down, it's a good time, not in the moment when everybody's upset and yelling and screaming and crying, but when things calm down, debrief with your child and talk through like what happened there. And talk about what your expectations are, or what behavior you're expecting when in that kind of an environment. And it's important to prepare your child before you go into those environments. I could have easily talked to my kids about, today we're going to be going to the library. It's a place where everyone's very quiet, and really talk through that with them so they understood the expectations. Still doesn't mean they would have followed them, but I think I could have given them more awareness and preparation about what the plan was for that day. And then it's really important that even after those kind of bad days happen, that you also identify when your child is doing something right. We sure can identify when they're doing something wrong, but catch them doing something right. The more you can give them praise and encouragement when they're doing something right, the more inclined they are going to be to keep doing that. So hang in there, mom and dad. I get it. These moments, they are hard, but they're also temporary, and they're worth it, working through it in the end.